Welcome to your Pinnacle Potential podcast, where we have an authentic conversation with you as well as various professionals about how, why, and when to take the right steps forward to eventually reach our pinnacle health potential. As we reflect on these ideas, we welcome special guests into the conversation to get a unique insight into what they do to reach their pinnacle potential too. Tune in weekly every Friday so you don't miss a step. What's up, guys? Thanks for listening in. I have a very short opportunity to talk to you guys about this. That's another thing that I've become pretty passionate about, and I just coincidentally saw a post that fits perfectly into kind of what I want to talk about today, which is seizing an opportunity to do something for yourself, for your future self, for your kids and their kids and the kids' kids, and just generations upon generations. Things don't usually last that long, but that shouldn't hold you back from starting anytime soon. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I want to talk about the main topic for today, for this episode, which is in my fitness journey, especially when it comes to the workout programming. Where do I start? I've had a lot of people ask me questions about what kind of splits to start off with, how many days a week, or maybe they just have concerns that they don't think they can hit the gym 5 to 6 days a week. And I understand that. I don't even do that. I rarely do that. I'm 6 weeks technically into my program, but I've only barely finished half of my 5th week. I have 5 days of a split. The 5th day is an optional addition that is just pure zone 2 and 3 conditioning. And it is optional. If I have the time to do it, I will gain the benefits of that. Otherwise, I'm just hitting the 4 other workout days. So with the 5 days, I'm on week 5. I've only done 2 of them. So I've hit 40% of that. So I'm not even halfway through the 5th week yet, but I'm almost at the end of my 6th week of how long it's been since I started. And I got to be flexible with that opportunity, with the way that I'm kind of doing things. But even with this program that I'm doing, which is new for me, and the type of approach that I have for it, it is technically what works for me. And my personal training clients, they have a specific program that is just for them. So one person has quite a bit more than the other person does, as far as the amount of days of work that they have and what those extra things and days focus on. But nonetheless, the real question and the deeper question is just how or where do I start? So if you're considered a starter, a beginner, an amateur, they all sound similar, but I classify an amateur as someone who once was big into weightlifting and working out, being consistent, and they've been off for such a long time. And now you're back into your first year of training. A beginner would be someone who kind of has done some sports, not really dove into weight training, and now they're barely into their first year ever of trying to be consistent in the beginner stage of your training, of your programming, of you just being consistent in the gym, working out, things like that. A starter is someone who was in no kind of physical activity, sport, does not know their mind-muscle connection, does not have very good central nervous system connectivity there, and has never really hit the gym or worked out outside of maybe just taking a walk around the block. That's how I would categorize those 3 people. But nonetheless, for any of those 3 people, I would put them into this form of action right here. I would do full body or upper lower splits for no more than 4 days a week in your program. And that is your minimum, which is sort of the approach that I'm taking right now. I am on a 4-day split plus an optional 5th day for flexibility for the conditioning. And it is technically an upper lower split because I have a bench focus and then a squat focus and then an overhead press focus and then a deadlift focus. Those are how my 4 days kind of line up. For you guys, I would say to do something similar to that, or do full body to where you're hitting all of the major body parts consecutively each of the days that you're going to be working out. And if you're doing that kind of approach, you can even do 2 to 3 days and be perfectly fine, make some serious gains or losses if that's kind of what you're looking for too in the gym and in your health life. Regardless of your approach with the kind of split or program that you're doing, as long as you're consistent with it and your nutrition, maybe you have some overlap like I do where it's been almost, definitely 6 weeks and I'm barely halfway through the 5th. It's not lining up perfectly, right? It's over here is where I am and then the week is over here. So it's not lining up perfect, but if you're consistent in what you're doing and your nutrition, you're going to see some major benefits. I've gained 1.25 pounds of lean body mass, so to say, and The reason I'm able to calculate that is because I do weigh myself and check my body fat percentage at the same time every other morning. And I've seen myself grow, and I know I'm being consistent in getting all my protein in and all the calories that I need in. And I'm trying to gain lean body mass, and I'm hitting all of my workouts that I need to hit. So I'm being consistent, and it's working in my favor, slowly but surely. So to answer a quick question that I kind of brought up was, what is a bro split? So bro split is basically you're typically doing like chest day, day one, and then you have like back day, day two, and then you have leg day, day three, then you have arm day, day four, and then shoulders and abs or something like that, day five. Then you rest for usually 2 days in a row, or sometimes people make the 6 day like a cardio and accessory specific kind of thing, and then they rest for 1 day and then they start all over again. And that can work because you're hitting chest like here on day one, and then you don't touch your chest again. Really, you kind of do when you do shoulders, um, or the other 6 accessory day, but you technically don't hit or touch your chest again up until about a week later. So you get a lot of rest in between, but you're also kind of avoiding the stimulus that you could potentially give it throughout the rest of the week. If you were to like split the chest day volume in half and put it over here, then you're getting some stimulus on both without just completely tearing your body apart, which can a lot of times lead to injury or some kind of dislocation or things along those lines. So I don't typically suggest a bro split, but it's definitely doable. Now, let's say that you choose one of these and you just get started. That's all I want you to do. Just get started. Just choose a plan, stick to it, because the greatest plan that you can choose is the one that you're actually going to stick to. So pick one, stick to it. Pick one, stick to it. Make it simple for yourself. Now, the issue that I see that a lot of people have is that something doesn't work for them, or they have a bad day, and then they just drop off. And this ties into my last episode, the message of my last episode, which is waiting until the next Monday or the next month or the next year on New Year's resolution to restart and finally start grinding again instead of just picking it up the next day or just doing it anyways on the hard day is ultimately what's leading you to constantly failing. I drop off. Today is my drop off day. I intended to do my shoulder overhead press focus day for today, but I have a kink in my neck. So I'm going to do my recovery, do things that I need to do to take care of myself and my kids today. And then tomorrow I'll pick back up. If I'm still not feeling good enough, I'm just going to wait another day. Maybe I'll do my deadlift day, but that depends because whenever you brace for a deadlift or single leg deadlift, any kind of like core thing, you do have to activate a lot of this. And I don't want to strain my neck again in that area by putting too much emphasis on that, which I likely would. So I may end up taking not just a day off, but tomorrow off. And that's okay. In a sense, I've fallen off, but I've chosen not to fail and just fall out completely. So I'm going to start on my next best day. Now, at the beginning of this episode, I mentioned a quote that I had seen that I said it perfectly ties into what I want to talk about today. And I relate to it more so right now because my toddler, I have a toddler. She's under 2 years old. And then I have my newborn who is under 3 months old. And they're both learning so many new different things right now. My daughter still doesn't really quite understand a jump yet, but she definitely understands how to bear crawl really fast, how to sprint, how to like go into a calf raise and like kind of jump, more like a little hop like that. It's kind of all she does. But she's learning so many different things. They both are. But I remember whenever my daughter, we were trying to teach her how to walk, and she was walking really well with it was like a balance thing that she would hold on to, and it had like wheels on it, and she would run with it across, and you would sing music as she was rolling. So really encouraged her to do that and dance around. Standing was perfectly fine to her. It was just like getting her to walk by herself was not a thing. And she also skipped the normal crawling phase, like where you're like hands and knees crawling. She went straight to a bear crawl. So she was like barefoot, hands, just bam, 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 crawling that way first and foremost. And that's how she started. And then eventually she just started taking some steps. But I remember when she had first started that, when we first started teaching her, and she had fallen so many times, she had tripped so many times, she had slipped by trying to grab the bar that can help her balance. I'm like, oh crap, and she just falls over. And out of all those times, she never once thought, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe this walking isn't for me. Maybe I should not do this. And that's kind of what the post said. The post said, A child that's learning to walk doesn't fall 50 times and think to themselves, maybe this isn't for me. And I want to take that post a little bit further and then ask you guys the question, why, after failing maybe one or two times, a lot of us just one time of failure, you guys just completely drop off and say, no, this is not for me. These kids, my kids, they're learning, they're going to be learning new skills and new things for years upon years. It's been, so she started walking at 13 months. Between 12 and 13 months is whenever she started like walking. And it was like a speed walk. So she went from like a bear crawl to like a speed walk. So we'll just say 13 months is when she started walking. So now she's a year and 10 months. So mathematically, 9 months of a difference. She still has not yet learned how to hop or jump. There's not a single time that she decides, like, you know what, maybe hopping is just not for me. That's 9 months of learning. She still hasn't gotten it down, but she's still going to try to attempt. She's still going to learn. And one day she will, because she's going to keep on trying. And we're going to keep on dancing around the house. And we're going to keep having fun. And eventually we're going to take her to like a trampoline park. Probably not. We probably won't take her to a trampoline park. Probably just buy a trampoline and have her hop around the house. But I want you guys to ask yourself the question, like, why do you guys keep dropping off or just falling off and just accept it? I don't want you guys to do that. And in the same kind of topic of having like a childlike approach to doing things, I want to make sure that we create a separation between childlike and childish, because you guys may or may not know this, but Jesus tells us to have a childlike faith. He doesn't tell us and encourage us to be childish. He tells us, truly, truly, I say to you, that if you do not have the faith of a child, you will not see the kingdom of heaven. And I remember back in high school when I first heard that, I was like, what do you mean though? Like, right now I'm in high school. I'm trying to not be seen as a child. I want to be an adult. I want to be respected and seen as someone who's mature and is taking these right steps, and not want to be seen as a child anymore. So why would I accept and be okay with having a childlike faith? Like, I don't really understand that. And I also, in my pride, I don't want to. But I didn't create that separation of childish and childlike. I never truly understand it until I had my first child, Mickey. And it wasn't right away. It was actually whenever we were kind of transitioning back to work after having some paternity leave with the baby to bond. And when we went back to work, Nani, my mom, was the extra person that would have on Wednesday or Saturday to help to just take care of the baby. And eventually they created more and more of a bond, and it got to a point to where if I was holding Mickey here and Nani came through the door, she would go, yay, and get so excited to see her. And as soon as she was within like a diving distance, like an arm's length, I'd be holding her right here, and she just freaking dives over. And if I don't catch her with my other hand, her upper body as she's falling, she would definitely just hit her face and head on the ground, have to go to the hospital, whatever. But she has that childlike faith, and she's also a child, so it is a little childish too. But she has a childlike faith to think that if I dive into this thing, I can see the people that are my comfort, that are my safe zone, that are just my people, and I trust them and I respect them and their information. And that's my Nani. This is my dad. If I'm really going to fall, they're going to catch me. But it is up to me to make the first move. And she still does that to this day. And it's been a year and a half later. She still does that. She just dives. She doesn't care. So that's why, like, whenever I'm holding her, I never have something else in my hand. Usually. I try not to, because if someone else, and just anyone else, walks to the door and she wants to be held by them, she just dives. She just goes for it. And that's a childlike faith. She had to establish some form of respect and trust with them in order to formally dive into it. She knows them, and she knows herself enough in her own limit. And I think that's the kind of childlike faith that I think you guys need to have when you guys are approaching not just your spiritual health life, but your physical, nutritional health life as well. When you scan this QR code, you'll be handed the opportunity to sign up as a new health coaching client, listen to my podcast, finally find clean and great supplements and fat burners, discover clean and really good beef products, a partnership I have for discounted home gym products, my YouTube channel, and various social media platforms. Your simple health journey can start so quick, but the choice is yours. We have more access to internet and ads and so much other stuff that is really awesome and beneficial in our first world country. So to come up with some kind of excuse that you guys cannot do something, or take a first little step, or just step back into it and not just completely allow yourself to fall off and accept that, I personally think is unfair to you. And I think it's BS. I don't think you need to do that. I know that you don't need to do that. Some people, you definitely do, like an excessive extreme injury. But unfortunately, these days we have more trust in a highly processed BS McDonald's Big Mac than we do in ourselves to take a single step forward to become healthier and better for ourselves. There is some kind of internet app, person, social media influencer that you do trust. Follow that step. Just do one of the things that they're encouraging and influencing you to do. Start somewhere. Dive into that. If you fall off, that's fine. Just step back into it. Be like Mickey. Be like your child self, and just try again. You at least owe that to yourself. And if that isn't encouraging enough, look around you and those who are in your circle, because your steps that you do and you don't take are not only affecting you, but it is going to affect them. Because if you are not taking the steps forward, they are near 100% likely to also never take that step because they never had the example. Now, that is a lot of pressure. I understand that. I really do, because I have 2 girls under 2, and I'm recording this podcast while they're both napping right now. So I have a very small window to do this, but I'm still taking that step, taking that risk, and doing the thing that is good for me and for the kids. And tying back into that kingdom of heaven thing, whenever Jesus says that, truly, truly, I say to you that if you do not have the faith of a child, childlike faith, that you will not see the kingdom of heaven. I said that I understand it more now than I ever did before, now that I have kids, because I see the trust and the faith that my kids have in me on a daily basis. The way that they just look into my eyes, and I know that they can physically be held by me, physically be seen by me, and like auditorily hear me say, I love you, I got you, you are safe. But also we have this big, amazing book called the Bible that has 66 other books that God influenced and entrusted us as mankind to write down and record, so that way we can share the gospel and the good news with everybody from 2,000 plus years ago to where we are now. And he did that in addition to just the whole freaking world that we can see that he created, and the rest of the galaxy and the rest of the universe, and the fact that our Earth right now is the only thing that has life in it and is in the green zone, the perfect part of the solar system for us to exist and inhabit where we are. The way that DNA and everything flows from my genes to my kids, and that the eyes are always ending up here and not somewhere on my elbows. Like, everything is in alignment the way it should be. And that's from a very intelligent, personal, awesome, all-knowing creator. With that, and the word being the Bible, and some pretty miraculous things that have occurred in my life, I have that childlike faith, even though I haven't physically touched him like I am at this table right now. And I have the childlike faith in him. And I want to invite you to take that step forward in your spiritual life. Not just for you, although definitely for you, because he's the one that can save you, and you can't save anyone else, including yourself. You can't save your kids. You definitely lead them. But you can't save them. And whether it's your spiritual step forward to say, yes, I'm going to give Jesus a chance, or it's your physical step forward to say, yes, I'm going to hop back into my program, and even if I fall off, I'm going to still take my step back into it. Or even if it's your nutritional lifestyle that's like, all right, I'm going to eat off for today. I'm going to have 5 pieces of Little Caesars extra most bestest pizza like Vaughn did last Friday. Just have 5 pieces, no shame, no regret, and then I'll still hop back into it the very next day. Whatever it is, just be consistent. Take your step back into it. Stop allowing yourself to just fall off and accept that. I'm a believer that it's not really about saying no to things, although that is necessary sometimes. It's more about saying yes to the right things in the right amount. So I'm recording this on Thursday. I'm going to get this out to you guys tomorrow, Friday. And I want to encourage you guys to ask yourself 2 questions. What am I going to say yes to for myself today and tomorrow? And why is it that when I fall off or fall out, I just accept it and allow it to keep on happening? To not just affect myself, but also those around me. Really reflect on it. At least do that for yourself. It's just you and you. You go with you everywhere. Just do those 2 things. Ask yourself those 2 questions. Take some time to simmer on that. And then take the freaking step forward. So, recap. What split do you start with? In short, the one that you're going to stick with. You can do the bro split, to where you're doing one body part every single day of the week and allowed yourself a full week of recovery, I just encourage you to not overtrain, but also put in some max effort. If you need some kind of guidance on that, reach out to me, ask me. Or you can do an upper lower split like I currently am right now. I won't stick to this for a very long time. I'm doing this for the next 5 to 6 months, however. And or you could do a full body split to where you're doing a full body workout 2 to 4 days a week throughout the week. The only other fourth one is a push-pull leg split where you do pushing movements, whether it's pushing horizontally or pushing vertically. That includes squats also, usually. And then pull, which is like a deadlift or a row or a bicep curl, and then legs is legs. So that's usually like 3 on, 1 or 2 days off, and then 3 on and 1 or 2 days off. And it's not in alignment perfectly with your weeks. They're all on all different days, but that is another approach. So choose one, stick to it, just do the dang thing. Second thing I want you to think about is those 2 questions that I mentioned before. I'll have them right here. And then the third thing is Jesus loves you. He really cares about you. He always has. He has a purpose for you in your life. And this is an opportunity right now. It isn't the only one because we're still here. We have days and minutes, years, however long you have left in your life to choose and take the opportunity, that first step to him. So the third thing is give it a chance. Open up that word. Take that step back into it. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for listening in and taking your time to whether just auditory listen to me or watch as well. I really appreciate you guys just allowing me to speak to you guys, pour out some of the things on my mind and my heart to hopefully encourage you guys and give you guys a to push you guys forward in your health and wellness journey overall, because I want you guys to reach your pinnacle potential. And I definitely for sure would love it if it were to involve Jesus as well. So with all that being said, God bless. Hope you have a great day. See you next time. I want to really thank you for listening in, not just for support towards me and what I'm passionate about doing, but also for taking a simple step forward to support your future too. If you found this helpful and want to support, please like, subscribe, or just follow. And also share it with someone that you know could use some positive guidance to help them reach their pinnacle potential too. God bless. Seriously.